Hare Krishna dear devotees, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. We are singing this Vaishnav Bhajan. It's composed by Narottam Das Thakur in his book Prarthana. So the song is titled Dhan Mora Nityananda. But before we sing this, let's just read the translation very quick. This song is glorifying Lord Nityananda. So can anyone tell who is either Avinash Prabhu or Raina? Who's Lord Nityananda? Why are we glorifying him? Any idea? Okay, who knows who's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Let's see. Raina, any idea? Or you want to share one line, two line, anything? We've been talking about him. What do you understand by that name? Avinash Prabhu, you have any ideas?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the avatar of both Radha and Krishna, as far as we discussed till now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a incarnation. He's basically Krishna who comes.
Yeah.
He's basically Krishna who comes in the mood of Radharani, right? So,
Yeah.
yes, very right. Raina, did you get that? What Vinash Prabhu said? Does that ring a bell?
No, Mataji, can you repeat, please?
So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is basically Krishna himself who came in the mood of Radharani, right? And he had, remember we talk about the Goswamis, the six Goswamis that were his disciples, right? So that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we have talked about his disciples many times. We have talked about his associates also. Like, I remember one time we talked about Haridas Thakur in detail. And didn't we watch that drama at our place one time about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, how they delivered those two crooks, Jagai and Madhai, right? So that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna, Nana Prabhu, Happy New Year. Very, very happy Krishna conscious New Year. Please give us your blessings that we may continue on this path of Krishna consciousness. We both. Prabhuji, you are on mute if you're saying something. There you go.
I said, wish you very happy New Year all.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. How's Mataji doing and Tanishka and everybody?
Yeah, Tanishka is busy with her prelim exams. From
Okay.
7th, she has prelim exams now, 10th.
Okay.
She's
Her
in
painting
AP.
was beautiful. Her painting looks amazing. I can't wait to show her. Maybe I'll show in a little bit, but we'll send you your copy of the calendar, Prabhuji. It looks beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's amazing. She's so young. She has so much talent. She made such a beautiful painting of Krishna. Amazing. So she should continue that and hopefully will attract mercy of Krishna so that we can progress on this path of Krishna consciousness, understand the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita more and more this year, get the association of devotees and make spiritual life more important and prominent in our lives this year, hopefully. Okay, so yes, we were talking about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. So just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Krishna himself, right? And he came about 500 years back, and he spread the Bhakti movement, basically the Sankirtan movement, where he gave the Harinam to the masses, right? He spread it to anybody without looking at their qualifications, without worrying about whether they are Brahman or Shudra or Vaishya. So he did not care about their caste or color or whether they are male or female, anybody and everybody he gave Harinam, right? So that was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Lord Nityananda, his very, very close associate, is none other than Balram himself. Okay, so Lord Nityananda was given the was given the responsibility by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to spread the Harinam, go to door and give this Harinam to everybody. And Nityanand Prabhu, who is none other than Balram himself, will go very, very humbly. We know that Lord Balram was very, very powerful, strong, and he gets angry very quick, right? He kills so many demons. Similarly, Lakshman, right? Lord Lakshman, none other than Lord Balram, they're all the same, right? They're all the same, whether it's Lakshman, whether it's Balram, or whether it's Nityanand. But in Nityanand Prabhu's mood, he's very, very humble. He goes door to door and he humbly asks people to take this Harinam, to take the names of Krishna and Radha and purify themselves and improve their lives. So that was the glory of Lord Nityananda, that he would go and give Harinam. It's famously said that he opened the marketplace of the Harinam, and everybody was welcome to learn the knowledge, to chant, to sing on the streets. They started basically this Nagar Kirtan where they will sing and chant on the streets and attract the masses towards the pastimes of Krishna. So that was Lord Nityananda. So we will glorify him. So as we go further, we've talked about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu many times, but their associates, their disciples, which were 6 Goswamis, are the reason why we are sitting here able to read Bhagavad Gita today. It was their vision that the knowledge of Krishna consciousness, the instructions of Bhagavad Gita be spread far and wide all over the world. So it is their mercy, it was their vision. They visualized that one day Harinam and Krishna's instructions, the teachings, will spread all over the world, not just in India, not just around Vrindavan or Bengal, but everywhere in Western world and English-speaking countries. People will be singing Krishna's names. People will be reading Bhagavad Gita and teaching each other and trying to improve their lives by implementing this knowledge. So it was their vision, and they put it in books in such a way that it was easy to understand. All our Vedic knowledge from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and many other scriptures that we don't have access to actually. We don't have access to all the Puranas or Vedas actually, right? But they translated everything into local languages. So, and then Prabhupada translated them into English, which is easily understood by us, and so we are able to read it today. So they are the reason why we are able to do this today. That's why we are glorifying them. So Raina, if I asked you next time, would you be able to tell who is Nityanand Prabhu and why we sing his glories, right? So we always try to seek the mercy of acharyas, because these are our acharyas. These are the people by whose mercy we are here. So we hope that we keep getting their blessings. That's why we sing their praises. And it pleases Krishna to sing the praises of his devotees, right? Lord Balram is very, very dear to Krishna. So when we sing his praises, he is very, very happy and grants us benedictions too. Hare Krishna, Puja Mataji. Happy New Year. Welcome.
Happy New Year.
Wish you a very, very happy Krishna conscious year. You've been practicing at such a fast speed. You're progressing. You're already reading Bhagavad Gita so much and chanting and going to the temples, making prasadam. So many things you're doing. Please keep on and even try to add more and more.
Yes. I will try more this year.
Yes, Mother, you're doing great. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about our spiritual goals for this year in a few, but let's start with this bhajan. We're thinking about Lord Nityananda and glorifying him. So let's read the translation very quick. Okay, number 1. Would someone like to read this?
Hare Krishna, Navya wants to read.
Okay.
Lord Nityananda, well, Lord Chandra is my master. The youthful divine couple is my life. Advaita Acharya is my strength. Gadar is my family.
Haribol.
Nandar is my glory.
So here some names are mentioned, but if we just focus on Lord Nityananda and God Chandra, that will be enough for now, I think. So Narottam Das Thakur, again, he comes in the disciplic succession, right? He's part of our Guru Parampara system, right? GPS, Guru Parampara system that guides us where to go, what is the spiritual path to follow. Just like a GPS guides you, right, in your car, how to reach your destination. So this GPS or Guru Parampara system, starting from Krishna, right? Who comes after Krishna in the GPS? Who will tell? Anybody remembers who comes after Krishna? What about Pooja Mataji, Vinash Prabhu, Raina? Who comes out? Who did Krishna give the knowledge to? And if you don't know, do you know where to look? Do you, if somebody asks, can you look there? If you don't know where to look, can you look at that list and tell me who comes after Krishna?
Brahma.
Yeah, Lord Brahma, right? So Krishna gave the knowledge to Lord Brahma, right? Who comes after Lord Brahma? Can you tell without looking? Who can tell? Who was the disciple of Lord Brahma? Very, very famous transcendental disciple who is known as the transcendental spaceman. He travels all around in different planets and gives knowledge and has made many, many, many devotees. Yes.
Narada.
Narad Muni.
Narada.
Yes. So Narad Muni is the disciple of Lord Brahma. So in this way, the disciplic succession keeps going, right? So Krishna gives the knowledge to Brahma, Brahmaji to Narad Muni to so many other devotees, and finally reaches to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there are so many other disciples that come. And one of those disciples was Narottam Das Thakur, whose song we are singing today, right? So this is the Guru Parampara system. And who's the last one in this GPS? The last one that we know of that gave us this knowledge. Come on, this everybody has to know. Our beloved Jagat Guru, Patit Pavan, His Divine Grace. Yes, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So he's the last one in the disciplic succession, right? So in this way, the knowledge is coming from one person to another, and that's why this Bhagavad Gita is called Bhagavad Gita as it is, right? He gave us the knowledge as it is that Krishna wanted us to understand. Krishna wanted us to understand the love of Krishna is the only message, the main message that we have to get from Bhagavad Gita, and that's the message we get from reading Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. So, so in this first translation, Lord Nityananda is my wealth, right? So Narottam Das Thakur is glorifying his teachers, that Lord Nityananda is my wealth. Gaur Chandra is basically Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? He came on a full moon night, Gaur Purnima, right? So God Chandra, he is my master. The youthful divine couple is basically Radha and Krishna. They are my life. And then he's mentioning some other associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which we won't talk today. But I just want, if somebody asks you about disciplic succession, I want you to be able to answer why are we reading this particular Bhagavad Gita? Why are we following this path of Krishna consciousness? Because it is coming as such from Krishna. And Krishna says himself in Bhagavad Gita that I gave this knowledge in the very beginning. And with time, it got destroyed, it got ruined, it was lost. And all these great acharyas have revived this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So they are very, very glorious to us. Okay? Who will read number 2? Let's say Pooja Mataji, you want to read?
Yes, Mataji. The dust of the devotees' lotus feet is my wedding butter. And the chanting of the devotees' name is my satisfaction, considering the merits of all Vedic. Mataji, I can't see. Vedic literatures in the light of devotional service, I have concluded that the Srimad Bhagavatam is the best of all the scriptures. Hari Bol.
Vibhor. Okay. So the dust of devotees' lotus feet is my bathing water. Look at the sentiments. Look at the bhav of Narottam Das Thakur. Chanting of their names is my satisfaction, right? So I know that some of you in Shubilas Prabhu's class are learning these verses where you're chanting the names of the devotees, right? Navya, are you able to recite that verse? Do you still remember it? What is that? Say that verse loudly and clearly.
Forgot the first part.
You forgot the first part? Let's see. We don't have any other kids, I think, today that will know this. So, who all did that verse talk about? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Can you tell me?
Lord Nityanand Prabhu, Srinivasacharya. No, I think I remember.
Okay.
Advaita Acharya, Nityananda, Srinivas, Gadadhara Damodar Murari Haridas
Yes.
Chaitanya Krishna Samsara Bhakti Bhave Giridhari Savera Savera Chitana.
Okay, very good. Yes, so let me pull this up. It's very, very beautiful verse. It talks about all these devotees of the Lord and how we are glorifying them. So, Advaita Acharya Nityananda Srinivasa Gadadhara Damodara Murari Haridasa Arayata Chaitanya Krishnera Bhakta Gana Bhakti Bhave Shire Dhari Sabara Charana. So they have glorified all these devotees, Advaita Acharya, Nityanand Prabhu, Srivasacharya, Gadadhar Pandit, Swarup Damodar Das, Murari Gupta, Haridas Thakur, all these devotees are mentioned here, right? And then he's saying, this line is very beautiful, he's saying, and all the other devotees of Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Arayata, all the other devotees, Bhaktagana, all the devotees of Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Bhakti Bhave Shire Dhari Sabaracharana, that with great devotion, Shire Dhari, Shire means sir or sir, on my head I hold their feet, Sabara Charan, Charan means feet, that on my head with Bhakti Bhav I hold their feet. So that is the mood of a devotee, that we are not even trying to reach Radha Krishna. We are just asking for the mercy of their devotees, right? Their devotees or our spiritual masters, our acharyas, right? They are the devotees of Radha Krishna. We are trying to ask for their mercy. So we are even chanting their names because that will also please Krishna. And then Narottam Das Thakur is saying, and ultimately I've concluded after reading all the Vedic scriptures. He has gone through all the Vedic scriptures and he says that Srimad Bhagavatam is the best of all scriptures. So Srimad Bhagavatam is that Puran, Amal Puran, Granth Bhagavatam that arose like sun right before the Kali Yuga was about to start, right? So he's saying Srimad Bhagavatam is the best of all scriptures. Who can tell who spoke Srimad Bhagavatam to whom? Who narrated it to whom? So just like Bhagavad Gita is being said by whom to whom? Who is saying Bhagavad Gita? Let me make sure. Raina, go ahead. Who's saying Bhagavad Gita? Who is narrating Bhagavad Gita? Who is saying this Bhagavad Gita verses? To whom? Who's asking
Lord
questions?
Krishna to Arjun.
Yes, Lord Krishna to Arjun, right? Is that right? Who agrees? Yes. Puja Mataji, you agree?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes. Okay. So does anybody know who's saying Srimad Bhagavatam? Let me see. Puja Mataji, are you familiar with Srimad Bhagavatam?
No, Mataji.
Okay, hold on. Hare Krishna, Balmukund Prabhuji, Hari Bol, Happy New Year.
Hare Krishna.
Wish you a very happy Krishna conscious year, Prabhuji. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
Prabhuji,
you.
we don't have too many devotees today because people are traveling. So we are going to sing a song, but before that, we are just talking about different things here, trying to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Prabhuji, are you familiar with Srimad Bhagavatam, or have you been reading, or what is your understanding? Would you like to share?
Yeah, I have been reading. I have been gaining the knowledge, but I am not that versed in all the slokas. I know like only handful of slokas, like 10, 15 slokas.
Yeah, Prabhuji, knowing the shlokas is not that important, but we're talking about Srimad Bhagavatam. Are you talking about Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah, I'm talking about.
Okay. So, okay, let's see if Navya can. Navya, can you tell everybody what Srimad Bhagavatam is and how is it different from Bhagavad Gita?
Bhagavad Gita is Krishna speaking to a devotee, and Bhagavatam is devotee speaking about Krishna. So Bhagavad Gita is Lord Krishna speaking about himself, and Bhagavatam is devotee speaking about Krishna and his devotees.
Yes. Very bold.
So, Bhagavad Gita is basically the philosophy, and Bhagavatam is the practical, is how the devotees actually lived by the principles which are taught by in Bhagavad Gita. So different examples are given from the life of different devotees, different people, and lessons are learned from it, from learning from their experience and what they did in their life. in Bhagavatam.
So, all these books you see up here, this is Bhagavatam. This is all Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So, Srimad Bhagavatam so Bhagavad Gita is this. Bhagavad Gita is one book, right? So, this was spoken by Krishna to Arjuna on the battlefield of Mahabharata, right? And Arjun is basically bewildered and he's clarifying his doubts, and Krishna is giving him the whole essence of Vedic scriptures in the form of Bhagavad Gita. Right? Everybody understand? Yes. Okay. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by, now all this knowledge is eternal, right? So I'm just telling you about the time that it was revealed to us, okay? So Bhagavad Gita was revealed to us by Krishna when he spoke it to Arjuna. And Srimad Bhagavatam came into manifestation when Shukdev Goswami spoke it to Parikshit Maharaj. Okay, so Parikshit Maharaj was about to die, right? He had only 7 days to live. He was cursed by this Brahman's son, and he was supposed to die in 7 days. In those 7 days, he wanted to know what is the best thing for me to do, right? If somebody told you you have only 7 days to live, what would you do with that time? That was the doubt he had. What should I do with this 7 days that I've been given? I know that I'm definitely going to live for these next 7 days. How should I put this time to best use? So Parikshit Maharaj was counseled by many great rishis and scholars that were there at that time, including Ved Vyas and so many others rishis. Okay, they were all gathered around Parikshit Maharaj, and they all decided that Parikshit Maharaj should hear about the pastimes of Krishna and his devotees. Okay, so they selected, and then came the doubt who should tell him all this pastimes. And then they all selected Ved Vyasa's son, Shukdev Goswami, as the one to teach Parikshit Maharaj about all the pastimes of the Krishna and his devotees. So that is why, since there are so many pastimes of Krishna and his devotees, they go in the 12 cantos. So it's not just one book, there are 12 cantos, and those were all mercifully translated by Srila Prabhupada into English language. And once we have completed the study of Bhagavad Gita, the next level, like you do the graduation, then you do post graduation. So Bhagavad Gita is just the graduation. Bhagavad Gita is where Krishna is telling you, like Navya said, Krishna is telling you about himself, right? He's saying that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These are my opulences. These are my energies. This is my superior energy. This is my inferior energy. Time is also my manifestation. So many things he's saying about himself. But in Bhagavatam, the devotees are talking about him, they are glorifying him. So they give us deeper insights about Krishna than Krishna can give us, right? So let's say somebody asked you about you, you will just, you'll be humble and you will just say a few things. Yeah, I'm a mother. This is my daughter. This is my husband. This is my house. Maybe you'll say a few things. But then you ask their loved ones, can you tell me about this person? And then that person in a very, very elevated mood will glorify that person uh, and give such in-depth details, right? So that's what Srimad Bhagavatam is. That's why here Narottam Das Thakur is saying that Srimad Bhagavatam, I understand, is the best of all the scriptures, right? So everybody understands the difference between Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, right?
Yep.
So, yes, Prabhuji. So, once we finish Bhagavad Gita, we will, I don't know about us whether we'll read it here in our association, but there are many, many classes of Bhagavatam going on as well. If you would like to join or anybody would like to join, we read Bhagavatam daily. That is why it is called Nityam Bhagavat Sevya, that one should do the service of reading Bhagavatam daily. Okay, that is what gives us the bhakti. So Bhagavad Gita is very, very basic prelim knowledge, and the advanced knowledge comes from Srimad Bhagavatam. That is why it is the Granth Raj or Amal Puran. It's the best of all scriptures. Okay. Okay. Let's read number 3. Who can read number 3? Prabhuji, would you like to read?
My mind is firmly convinced of the spiritual benefit obtained by eating the remains of foodstuff left by devotee. The name of the devotees are my happiness. The land of Vrindavan is the enclosure within which I keep my mind. Poor-hearted Narottam Das speaks in this way.
Very bold. So Narottam Das Thakur is saying that when one eats the remnants of the foodstuffs left by the devotees. Now, this is not something that is recommended, and there are many, many nuances attached to this, but we eat the remnants of the foodstuff offered to Krishna for sure, right? That is what is called prasadam. So he's saying that I'm firmly convinced of the spiritual benefit obtained. A lot of devotees will actually tell you, people that have come into this path of bhakti, that the reason they're able to chant, the reason they're able to they have interest in reading Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, the reason they're able to understand or follow it is mainly because they're eating prasadam. So prasadam, because tongue is supposed to be the most important of all the senses. Tongue comes in the 5 working senses, and it comes in the 5 knowledge acquiring senses also, right? There are 5 jnanendriyas and 5 karmendriyas, right? Knowledge acquiring senses and 5 working senses. Tongue is part of the both, because tongue not only tastes but it also talks, right? It chants. So the only reason the tongue will have the taste of chanting Harinam or taste of talking Harikatha will be only if you purify it by eating prasadam. So not only we are purifying our consciousness and mind, but even our senses we can purify by eating prasadam. So there is immense spiritual benefit in just eating prasadam, because the consciousness with which one makes prasadam, that purifies us. And then having offered it to Krishna gives us the spiritual benefit. So all those, if you are really interested in making spiritual progress this year, please add more and more prasadam to your life. Remember, this house that you've been given belongs to Krishna. If you make this house the temple, that Krishna is the center of this house, I'm doing everything for Krishna. In the same spirit, I'm making food also for Krishna. So you make the food for Krishna, the bhav will be completely different. And then you offer food to Krishna and eat that. Okay. You'll see immense spiritual progress. You will feel like chanting, you will feel like reading Bhagavad Gita, you will start understanding, start following things much better. You look forward to hearing and reading more and more, right? People that do this, they'll tell you the benefit that their progress happened only because of eating prasadam. That is why we say if somebody is not interested in, a lot of people not interested in talking about Krishna or hearing Bhagavad Gita or chanting his name, right? We just tell them, just give them prasadam. Because by eating prasad, they get purified. Whereas if we are eating non-sanctified, unoffered food, then we are just contaminating ourselves daily. So on one hand, you try to purify yourself by chanting or by reading Bhagavad Gita, and on the other hand, you eat non-sanctified food. It's like it's compared to like an elephant who is all muddy and goes into the river to take a bath and then comes out and gets muddy again. So that's all you're doing. You keep getting muddy, keep going into the river to take a bath, then come out again get muddy. So by eating non-sanctified food, we just keep getting muddy over and over again. And so the best thing for spiritual progress is to offer and eat sanctified food. Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, Hari Bol. Is this Auntie?
Hare Krishna.
Oh, Hari Bol. I didn't even recognize you. Thank you for joining us. You just
Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna. Thank you for joining us. Happy New Year.
Same to you. You both.
Thank you. We were just discussing the translation of a song. I think we are now ready to start singing. I'm sorry, Nirbhay Prabhu, for taking so long, but I just wanted to implore everybody that if you want to make spiritual progress in this year, then eating prasadam is the way to go. All the food everything that you eat, you can just offer a little bit to Krishna, and I can share with you how to offer, what prayers to sing, and then just accept that food. It's basically remnants of the food offered to Krishna, and it purifies our consciousness. It purifies our mind, intelligence, the anarthas, the anger, ego, envy, right? So many anarthas, lust, all these things go away slowly and surely. Okay? So eating prasad, even if you're not able to chant, you're not able to read Bhagavad Gita, not able to attend these classes, everybody's eating food. Why not just offer some of that and eat? And that will you will see the progress happening so fast. Okay, so that is what Narottam Das Thakur is saying here. Let's start singing. Nirbhay Prabhu, please go ahead.
Thank you for joining.
Can you be loud? Your voice is very, very faint.
Let's see.
Nirbhay.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
This nice song by Srila Narottam Das Thakur from the book Prarthana. So these are one of the two books, the main books for Vaishnav songs that we have. One is Prarthana and the other is Gita. Pushpanjali? I think Pushpanjali.
One of each acharya has a number of books. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur also has a couple of books, and Narottam Das Thakur also has, I think, a couple of books.
Dhan mora nityananda Pati mora gora chandra Pran mora yugal kishora
Dhan mora nityananda Pati mora gaur chandra Prana mora yugal kishora
Dhan mora nityananda Pati mora gora chandra Pran mora yugal kishora
Dhan mora nityananda Pati mora gaur chandra Prana mora yugal kishora
Advaita Acharya Bala Gadadhara Mora Kula Hara Hari Vilasai Mora
Advaita Acharya Bala Gadadhara Morakula Narahari Vilasai Mora
Advaitacharya Bala Gadadhara Morakula Hari Vilasai Mora
Advaitacharya Gadadhar Morakula Narahari Vilasai Mora
Vaishnavare Padaduli Tahe Mora Snana Keri Tarpana Mora Vaishnavera Nama
Vaishnavera Padakuli Tahe Mora Snana Keli Tarpan Mora Vaishnavera Nama
Vichara Kuriya Mone Bhakti Rasa Sadane Madhasta Shivaturana
विचार कोरिया मोने भक्ति रसा स्वदाने मध्यस्था श्री भगवत पुराणा
Vaishnavera Uchishta Tahe Mora Mohanishta Vaishnavera Namita Ulasa
वैष्णवेरा उच्चिष्टा ताहे मोरा मोहनिष्ठा वैष्णवेरा
Vrindavane Chabutara Tahe Mora Mahera Kohe Dina Tamdasa
वृंदावने चबुतारा ताहे मोरा मोहनेरा कोहे दिना नरोत्तम दासा
Hare Krishna Krishna
Krishna Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama Hare Rama
Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare
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 Rama
Rama Hare
Rama Rama Rama
Rama
Hare
Rama Hare Hare.
Haribo.
Actually, I just realized that in this song, the ABCDE of devotional service is mentioned. So, can anybody tell me what is the ABCDE? We have talked about that ABCDE of bhakti or of devotional service. So, let's say A. Who can tell? What does A stand for? I know that some of you have heard this before. Any idea?
A for association, B for
Yes.
bhakti, C for chanting, and D for devotion.
So bhakti or devotion is the same, right? These are the
Yeah,
limbs. These are the limbs of devotional service that help us to advance. So what is B that helps us to advance in bhakti? Okay, Navya wants to say. Yes, Navya.
Is books, like spiritual books.
Books. Yes. A for
yeah, books.
association. So association of devotees, B for books, and Avinash already mentioned C for
Chanting.
chanting of the holy names, right? Chanting of the holy names. What about D? So these are the 5 important limbs of, there are many, but these are the 5 main limbs of devotional service that if we practice routinely in our life, we can improve our bhakti or devotional service. Okay, Navya, wait, let me see if somebody else can guess. If Puja Mataji, are you able to guess what D may be? We talked about it just recently.
Mataji, deity worship.
Okay, sure, deity worship, but it's not something that very beginners do. But deity worship is a good point, yes. What else could D stand for? What is recommended for beginners if they don't want to do anything? What should be the one thing they should do? What should we eat?
Prasadam.
Sadam. So D stands.
Dieting.
Yeah. So diet.
Dieting.
Right.
Our
Prasadam.
diet should consist of prasadam. Yeah. So even if you're not able to do anything, right? Which most people don't, right? So that's why when they go to temple, at least they are given prasadam, which is bhoga offered to Bhagwan, right? So by eating that little bit of prasadam, at least one can get sanctified. Now in our Krishna consciousness, we say that we should eat all prasadam, whatever you eat. So whatever dinner you're eating, breakfast you're eating, lunch you're eating, eat prasadam. So everything that we cook in our home, it is offered to Krishna and then we accept it once Krishna, because if you have many family members in your house, right? Let's say you have your dada, dadi, your parents and you, and you are the one cooking the food. Who would you give the food to first? To dada, dadi, parents, or will you take it yourself? Let's say Puja Mataji, would you mind answering?
I'll first offer Krishna and then give everyone.
Yeah, but let's say we're not, we don't worship Krishna right now. It's Dada Dadi, Mummy Papa, and you. Who should we give to?
Start with Dada Dadi, then Mummy Papa.
Right? Exactly. So you always start with the oldest in the house, right? The oldest person in the house. So if you are saying that Krishna is an important member of your house is a temple where Krishna resides, then Krishna is the most important member of your household. So when you cook for Krishna, and then you accept yourself after offering to Krishna, and that is prasadam. So our diet should consist of prasadam. Deity worship is also a very important point. Mataji mentioned very nicely. Deity worship has a lot of rules and regulations, but Krishna is a Bhakt Vatsal. He forgives even if you make mistakes. So any kind of deity worship in the beginning is also fine, but deity worship is a higher level of devotional performance or ritual. It takes a little bit of knowledge and of proper rituals and things. E, what does E stand for? Who will answer this? So everybody's clear on this, right? Association of devotees, right? We need association. We cannot do nirjan bhajan, right? It is never recommended to be by yourself because the Maya is so strong, the influence of material energy is so strong that if we are on our own, our mind will get distracted very easily. If you're by yourself, right, you will be like, okay, maybe I'll watch a movie and not attend Bhagavatam today or Bhagavad Gita class today. Maybe I'll go hang out with my friends that are going to the bar today. Or, so different things will distract you, right? But so that is why association of devotees is needed to keep you on this path. Right? So that is the most important thing, association of devotees. Books doesn't mean just any books, it means Bhagavad Gita
Bhagavatam.
and Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So we just learned the difference between Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So those are the spiritual books we should be reading. C, chanting of the holy names. All of these are very important. C is chanting of the holy names. So that is why all of us have been chanting, right? We are all on different levels. Somebody's chanting 1 round, somebody's doing 2, somebody's doing 4, somebody's doing 16 rounds, somebody's doing 32 rounds. So different people are doing different according to their level of progress. But ultimately, holy names or Harinam is not different from Krishna. Krishna has imbued his name with all the powers, right? So when we say Krishna's names, we are invoking his presence in our heart, right? So that is why chanting of the holy names will purify one of any contamination. And I'll show you this amazing verse that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quoted. There are not many verses that were revealed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but this is one of the very, very important ones that he quoted, and some devotees sing it daily. Cheto Darpan Marjanam Bhav Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. That by chanting of your holy names, your consciousness, the mirror of your consciousness, Darpan, Marjanam means clean. The mirror of your consciousness gets cleaned. Bhav Maha Davagni Nirvapnam. Davagni means the fire, like forest fire. Davagni, some Hindi people must have heard. Davagni means forest fire. There is a fire of material energy or Maya ki fire lagi hui hai. And this chanting of the holy names will extinguish that fire. Okay. And then I'll not read the whole thing, but Sarvatma Sanapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtam. That this holy names is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss. It enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. So this is that Sankirtan movement. Okay, so he's glorifying the names of Krishna. So chanting of the holy names is very important for progress, right? D for Prashadam and E for, if somebody knows, I can, who will mention E?
Exercise.
Exercise. Yeah, exercise is good to maintain our body. Yes, that's true. So we should maintain our body and soul together by keeping the body fit, right? But here E means something else. What are some of our devotees doing right now? Like Ravi Prabhu, Anita Mataji, they're visiting all these temples, right? They're getting association of devotees there. Why did they go all over there to visit the temples? Why do we need to go to the temples? Why can't we just stay here or go to some other places? Why do we have to? Why are they visiting temples? We have a temple in our house. Why go to those other temples? Ugh. So who will answer? Nirbhay Prabhu can answer. Why are they going to temples? So E stands for entering into the Dham.
So the benefit of a dham is that it's like there's many benefits, of course, but the main benefit is that there's increased spiritual intensity over there. Just like where there is um, you know like one example is radio waves are everywhere, right? But we need a radio show to understand those radio waves to we put on the car FM or AM, radio waves are there, but you still need that device to tune into that particular energy of the radio waves. Similarly, Dham, Krishna is everywhere, but deity form especially is one way that you can tune into that energy of Krishna or the God. And Dham just intensifies. It's like you have a power booster for your internet sometimes, so it boosts even more the internet. It's good in all the places. So similarly, Dham is that power booster that you have. You do the same amount of bhakti or chanting, but there you get multiplied benefits, much more. There's the special energized areas where you can tune in very easily. And again, also devotee is very important. So when you go to the dham, it's also very important not to just visit for touring. Like you can go to Vrindavan, you can very be you can
Okay.
be you can meet with the devotees and really spiritually recharge us. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
so it's like a charger, right? Your phone may be running by itself. So if you are staying away from the dham is like that charger. It's like that power outlet. You plug into it and you get suddenly charge of your spiritual battery. So when Ravi Prabhu, Anita Mataji, Sheetal Mataji, they all come back, they'll tell you how charged up they are, right? Because otherwise, just sitting here, we get drained out. Slowly, the Maya takes over. We have so many responsibilities. We are going to work, we are dealing with our family, so many conflicts in the professional and personal life or with your health. But when you go to dham, you forget about all the responsibilities, all the family problems, all the personal issues, and you are just the ambience, the power is so surcharged with spiritual energy, right? That you once you plug yourself into that energy, you get charged up, so that when you come back, you're able to do all your spiritual activities with more vigor and energy, right? So that is why every so frequent we should keep visiting dham, and we should take the benefit of visiting dham, do services there, associate with the saints and sages, sadhus over there, and learn Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam from them, right? And we should attend the kirtans, attend the deity worship, go to the aartis, go to Mangal Aarti, Sandhya Aarti, all the aartis, and you will get spiritually surcharged. All the vibrations coming from these devotees, they will improve our spiritual life, right? And that is why Prabhupada said that all my temples are like a dham. So sitting in US, we don't need to think, oh, how would I ever go to Vrindavan or Jagannath Puri? I'm so far sitting away from these dhams. No, you just go to the temple here, and that is a dham in itself. So entering into the dham, and that is why he recommended actually in Vanprasth or Sannyas ashram, one should just go and stay in the dham, because that's when we have to multiply, we have to increase our spiritual activities many times, multifold. And if we are not able to do that, then at least make our house into a dham where you have a temple where you're inviting the devotees, inviting the senior devotees, the sannyasis, and doing their seva, holding classes, doing kirtans, doing artis, and inviting people for those things, serving prasadam. So basically, you are making your house into temple. So in this way, and Prabhupada's devotees, Prabhupada's disciples are so merciful that they have started these preaching centers, these bhakti vrikshas, these, even if there are no temples in certain cities or states, they have made these small communities of devotees everywhere where one we can plug in and get get spiritually charged up. So that is E, entering into dham. So association of devotees, books like Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. C, chanting. D, our diet should be prasadam. And E, entering into the dham. So if we make this a routine of our, part of our routine, you will see how our bhakti, how devotional life will progress. The taste will come for everything. Because right now there is no taste. Right now the taste is for eating outside food, or eating meat or alcohol, or for associating with karmi people. So many other tastes that we have will slowly go away, and you would want to do more and more of japa, more and more of hearing and reading of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So slowly the taste will come. You all are already so advanced. You're all coming here giving 1 to 2 hours of your life every week. So you all have the hankering to make some spiritual progress and to purify yourself. And you're giving me an opportunity to purify myself. This is one way that I can purify myself, by doing the Harikatha. So thank you all very much. But let's dive into Bhagavad Gita. We'll just try to read 1 or 2 verses of 12th chapter that we were reading.